sign up there. See what it says? Cash for your home. You know what that is?
Billboard.
What are y'all, Amos and Andy? Are you stepping and he's fetching? I'm talking about the message, what it stands for. It's called gentrification. It's what happens when the property value of a certain area is brought down. Huh? You listening?
Yeah.
They bring the property value down. They can buy the land at a lower price. Then they move all the people out, raise the property value, and sell it at a profit. Now what we need to do is we need to keep everything in our neighborhood, everything, black. Black owned with black money. Just like the Jews, the Italians, the Mexicans, and the Koreans do.
Hello family, this is African Esquire and I'm here with a new video. So this video is going to be very much to the point, and I usually don't talk like this. I usually don't tell black people to stop talking about certain things, but this particular issue I do want to address to my people. So when it comes to gentrification, we have to stop talking about it and complaining about it. That is the one issue that I do not want to hear any black people complaining about. Because when it comes to gentrification, we should know already that this is what happens when we don't have power. So in particular, there's been so many stories about gentrification recently. The one, that I was recently hearing about is Howard University. If you don't know, apparently Howard University has a yard that's basically the center of the campus. And there was a lot of complaints because white residents are gentrifying the area surrounding Howard University. And because they're gentrifying it, the things that come with gentrification will come with it. So, for example, people will be running on campus, people will be walking their dogs, and some people will let their dogs go to the bathroom on the campus and not even try to clean up after the dogs. And these are things that are common in any area where gentrification happens. So, the thing about gentrification that the reason why I say we have to stop talking about it is because if you're not doing anything about it, meaning if you're not trying to organize, if you're not trying to buy property in your community, if you're not trying to even live in your community, there's a lot of us who go outside of the black community. We integrate into different areas. We become parts of the gentrification in some instances, because if you're still going to the businesses that are going to gentrify your areas, if you're buying from those retailers, if you're not buying black, if you're not buying from people who look like you, you're going to support the issue of gentrification. And I realized this a long time ago, whenever I was in Pittsburgh, my hometown, and I started seeing it really getting gentrified at certain places. In particular, there's a neighborhood, if any of you are from Pittsburgh, you might know East Liberty. That was really where, growing up as a kid in middle school, that was a lot of the places where I would basically, hang out with friends or whatnot. And I'd come back to Pittsburgh after college and I see that East Liberty is completely changing. It's not even called East Liberty anymore. I think it's called East Village. And this was very devastating to me. But then I thought about it. What were we doing with this part of town when we had the opportunity to do something with this part of town? And the fact is, we weren't doing much. There wasn't many businesses that were black owned. For those black businesses, the support was not where it needed to be. And therefore, it was very easy for outsiders to come in and basically control the area. So when we talk about black nationalism, when we talk about self-determination, what we're talking about is that you have to, first of all, figure out, where do we want to live? Because some of us, we say, we like this community or this is a black community, but then years go by and we don't even want anything to do with this community. We say the housing is run down, let's go to this area or that area. But if we have an area that we find to be historically significant, if we have an area that we actually want to live in, an area that we want to raise our children in, an area that we want to be, to continue being a part of the black community, a part of the black experience in America, we can't get there if our only way of doing so is by waiting for white people to buy up the property in our area, and then we basically get kicked out and then we start complaining. By the time you start complaining about gentrification, it's too late, because the fact is gentrification is all about power. And if you had been planning power, if you've been practicing power from the beginning, you would not have to deal with the fact that someone else has more power than you in your neighborhood. So again, this is just an overall thing that I think we have to start thinking about, because the fact is, you know, a lot of us, we take for granted where we live, we take for granted our neighborhoods, and there's always people who are willing to see the value in something that you don't put the value in. We see the same thing happening all over the continent of Africa. There are places where there are mineral wealth. There are places where there is land where people want to live in, where people want to develop. And unfortunately, a lot of our people aren't seeing the value that the outsiders see. They might see, oh, this is just, some land, blah, blah, blah. The outsiders are like, oh, there's gold on this land. Oh, we can develop this land. We can create hotels on this land. So when the outsiders come in, the people who didn't value the land, the people who didn't come together and say, let's do something with this land, they're left saying, oh, well, look at all these things they're doing with our land. But we have to take the opportunities to see the value in our own communities, to see the values in our own countries, to see the value in what we have. So when it comes to, and this is all over the U.S. at this point, obviously DC is getting gentrified. And the funny thing about these gentrified areas is that at one time they were regarded as, don't go there, don't go this place, don't go that place, don't go to Baltimore, don't go to this, definitely don't go to the west part side of Baltimore, don't go to DC, don't go to New York City, don't go to Queens, don't go to Brooklyn. These were the sentiments that were built in our community. Oh, I need to get my children out of this place, get my children out of the school district, put them somewhere else. These are the sentiments that were built into us. So now, when we have other people taking control of these areas, we're left basically looking dumbfounded, especially when they're building things that are of value there. They're building things that actually are significant there. We're left looking like, oh, wow, we didn't know that could happen. But that's the problem. We didn't recognize it when we did have some type of control, because we don't have real control. A lot of us live in these places, but we don't own the places. We don't own the mortgage in the places, the housing in the places. We could. Look at what's going on in Baltimore and different places, the urban areas. They're selling the housing very cheap right now. This is a great opportunity for us to take ownership of our communities. I think Baltimore, I heard they were selling row houses for like a few dollars that, you could spend going to get some candy from the store. You could spend going to get some liquor, alcohol. They were selling row houses for. And granted, of course, you have to fix those houses up, but still, owning real estate for just a few dollars. These are the things that we could be doing in order to actually have control over our communities. Having businesses in these areas, not being so quick whenever we actually make it to college, when we make it to grad school, to law school, to medical school, not being so quick to leave those communities, but actually having the attitude that this is my community. I don't want to see this community get gentrified. Let me do something to actually keep it black. Let me do something to improve it, because we don't just want to keep an area black that's depressed and doesn't have financial capital built into it. We want to funnel some cash into that area. We want to invest in that area. We want to be like a Nipsey Hussle. We want to build a store. We want to start a venture. That's what we want to do in that area. These are the things that we have to think about. And these are the things that we have to do instead of complaining. So again, to me, when I hear people complain about gentrification, my biggest issue is, why are you complaining when you know this is what's going to happen? We should understand the sociology of what's going to happen. This is a political consequence of not having power. Gentrification is a political consequence of not taking power. Anytime you have not taken power, you are subject to the will of whoever does, whether they be white, Arab, Chinese, Jewish, whatever. You're subject to the will of others who did take power. You are basically a sitting duck in a lake full of sharks. That's what you are, because you didn't seize the power when you had the opportunity. We have opportunities. If we pull our wealth together and pull our resources together, we have opportunities to actually do something to prevent gentrification. So instead stop talking about gentrification, stop talking about the fact that there's this man in Howard that wants the campus to move, although it is ridiculous. But let's talk about how we can come together and stop it. Because it's not going to happen from us complaining. Again, by the time you start complaining about gentrification, that means you already lost that battle. The power has already been transferred to someone else, or really you didn't have the power to begin with. So the power has just been more enforced by an outsider group. And now you're basically subject to their will. And when they want to raise those property taxes up and kick you out, it's going to happen. And we shouldn't be in the position where it only takes someone deciding, I like East Liberty. I like West Baltimore. I like East Baltimore. Like, we shouldn't be in a position where all someone has to do is decide, you know what, I think I like this area. It's close to where I want to work. Yeah, let's just start buying up this property. Let's just start, kicking the people out. It shouldn't be that easy, ever. It shouldn't be that easy for them to run you out of somewhere where you've been for years and years and years. And unless we come together, there's no point in complaining about it. If you want to complain about it, please tell me that you're also out here doing something for it. If not, then your complaining is just complaining, and you're playing the victim. But we all know what the results of gentrification is going to be. We should know by now. So I'm sorry this was a bit of a rant, but it's just something I keep noticing on the internet. Like, people, this place is gentrified. Oh, it's so gentrified. Like, complaining about it does anything. It does nothing. The only thing that will do something is actually coming together and planning and coming together with people that you might not like so much. But hey, we all have something in common. We're Black. We're fighting in this country. We're fighting for something good. That's our common cause. And if you can't come together for that, if you're one of those people who have never been to the communities that you complain about, but you want to complain about them, you've never given $1 to the businesses in those communities. All you want to do is complain and say, oh, the people are being kicked out. Oh, we're being gentrified out. But you never even did anything to stop it. You really can't complain about this. This is the exact result of not having power, not being organized, and not supporting your own. This is what will happen. So let's understand this is a formula that they use in this society. And unless we're willing to change the equation and put our own numerical values into the equation, we should really stop complaining and find something to complain about that's actually going to mean something. Because at this point, again, it's too late, unfortunately. So that's it for this. I will see you all in another video.